first rules-based monetary system, global, ever. This is a very big idea.
If the internet gets a chance to get a native currency, what will that be? And to me, it's Bitcoin.
The three things I own outside of SpaceX and Tesla are Bitcoin by far, and then some Ethereum and some Doge. I might pump, but I don't dump.
All right. So it's definitely not every day that we get three of the smartest, brightest minds in the entire world together in one room to talk about crypto, but that's exactly what happened at something called the B-Word Crypto event just the other day. We had Elon Musk, who definitely doesn't need an introduction, but he's the founder of Tesla, SpaceX, The Boring Company, Neuralink, and a massive Bitcoin and, of course, Dogecoin bull, joined by Jack Dorsey, who also is a massive Bitcoin bull. He is the founder of Twitter, founder of Square, and has been very outspoken about the entire crypto world and what he plans on doing moving forward, joined by Cathie Woods, who's one of the most renowned investors of our generation, and she has built a company with tens of billions of dollars in assets under management. She is known for making extremely bold yet accurate predictions about market trends in disruptive innovation. So we had all these people come together, talk specifically about crypto, and while much of what they had to say was really expected, because we all know that they're bullish on crypto, we know that they see it taking over years and years down the road. While we already knew that, there were a couple of curveballs and a couple of hidden clues that they spoke about that really not many people are talking about. So in today's video, we're going to first go over exactly the most important aspects of this debate. We're going to go over important highlights and clips of exactly what they said. After that, we're going to talk about what this means for crypto, not just now, but in the future and down the road as well, because it's exciting to see all these big ideas that they're talking about. But what's most important to us is this going to positively impact the crypto market? Is it going to negatively impact the crypto market? And how long is that going to take? Because during this debate, when it happened, we saw the crypto market spike. People were very excited, but is that just like a short-term trend? Is that just going to take a short period of time before we see it go back down, or what exactly is going to happen? So if you guys enjoy this sort of content on crypto, stock market, tech news, well then please be sure to like the video down below. Helps me out a lot. We've been killing it in our videos recently. Let's see if we can get this video to 1,500 likes. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. And if you don't already have the public.com investing app, make sure to go ahead and follow me on that. You can buy stocks, sell stocks, and see exactly what I'm buying and selling in real time, as well as a full portfolio breakdown. Think of it like an investing app combined with social media. It is completely free to follow me. Use the code Michael when you sign up, and you'll get up to $50 in a free stock. But anyways, let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any time. There's a couple of key moments that I want to go over that we have laid out for the video, about 8 to 10 key moments where Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk, and Cathie Wood are all speaking. I'm going to put timestamps down below so you can skip ahead to any of them. But let's start off with what exactly Elon Musk had to say about his holdings, about SpaceX and Tesla, and his overall general view about Bitcoin. So let's start off with that first.
Is not yet very good, but it has a lot of potential. And I should say that, like, I'm not, and I apologize for taking a long time, but there certainly is a lot to say. In general, I'm a supporter of Bitcoin and the idea of cryptocurrency in general. But as I've said publicly, we do need to watch out for crypto taking, especially Bitcoin, using proof of work to maybe used energy that's maybe a bit too much and not necessarily good for the environment. So, but on balance, I support Bitcoin, and I'm not an investor. The only publicly traded stock I own is Tesla, and the only significant thing I own outside of Tesla is my SpaceX stock that could help create both companies. So. But apart from that, I do own Bitcoin, and Tesla owns Bitcoin, SpaceX owns Bitcoin, and I do personally own a bit of Ethereum and Dogecoin, of course. So.
Okay, great.
So the important thing here is how Elon Musk, he lays the scene, he sets the stage explaining how he owns right now, for the most part, Bitcoin. That's his largest personal holding in the crypto space, followed by Ethereum and Dogecoin. And the thing that I took away from this is that everyone always says, oh, he's pushing for Dogecoin. He's manipulating the market. He tries to buy and sell at different times. Ultimately, throughout the interview, he explains how the most important thing in his mind is not about trying to manipulate the market up and down. He's like, ultimately, if the market goes down, it hurts his position. But the thing that I found interesting about this is he says, Tesla owns Bitcoin. SpaceX owns Bitcoin. He owns Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. And what this shows us, and from what he said, is that he picks specific things, whether it's, Tesla stock or SpaceX. He picks a couple of specific things that he really is heavily invested in with his time, with his money, and those are the things he focuses on. For stocks, he said Tesla, only publicly traded company he owns. So for him to say, look, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin are his main picks, that means that those are definitely the top three that he has invested time in energy and thinking about, and personally his own money in as well. So I thought that was interesting to see. And of course, he's always bringing up memes and Dogecoin, and that was pretty exciting too. Moving on, I want to talk quickly about setting the stage for Jack Dorsey, what he says about crypto as well, and his general thoughts about it.
When I saw Bitcoin in 2009, you see a chance to replace the whole foundation. And everything that Elon was talking about in terms of ACH and the credit card networks were built with very different agendas in a very different time frame. And it's crazy that they still exist. And they have scaled, but they just are not relevant to today. And they're certainly not relevant to the future, especially when you consider the entire world and countries like Nigeria or Ghana or India, and its interconnection with countries like the United States and Canada and all over Europe. So what really drove my thinking and drives my passion around it is, like, if the internet gets a chance to get a native currency, what will that be? And to me, it's Bitcoin because of those principles, because of that creation story, because of its resilience, because of the number of tests it's been. But what inspires me the most is just the community driving it. It just reminds me of the early internet. It's the only reason that I have a career, because I learned so much from people like who are building Bitcoin today. And I continue to learn in that sense, and I'm so grateful for it.
So this was interesting. He talks about how the internet needs to have its own form of currency that doesn't have any boundaries. For example, the internet, no matter where you are, if you have, internet access, you can access the internet anywhere in the world, essentially, especially with everything that SpaceX is doing with Starlink. But the goal is that eventually everyone in the whole world has access to the internet, and with this, they're saying there should be a currency tied to it. He explains how right now, like the US dollar, the euro, all of these are really owned by one government in one location. And you always have to worry about where you are. Do you have the right currency? Is there exchange rates? Something like that. But he says with crypto, with the goal of the internet, he sees in the future that we will eventually have a currency for the internet that works wherever you are, as long as you're on the internet. So that was a really big idea that shows you how much potential he sees crypto have. In addition to him saying that crypto and Bitcoin changes everything and has so many use cases, he goes on to elaborate a bit more about what exactly he means when he says crypto changes absolutely everything.
So that's a good segue into the next question I'd like to ask you, Jack, is you said before that Bitcoin changes everything. Can you speak more to that?
Well, I just think that, a lot of what we experience in life, when you really get down to the foundation, a lot of our monetary policies, a lot of our monetary systems cause so much distraction and so much cost. And when you get to a system where you have the potential for people to truly own it, they can verify it themselves. You don't have to have trust going in. You don't have to trust it at all. You can verify it through source code or whatever your appetite is. And that any particular person can help drive the future of it. And at the same time, it's not controlled by any state. It's not controlled by any bank. It's not controlled by any corporation. And these three parties of people who participate in the network, people who mine, and also the developers, constantly debating the correct roadmap and the way forward is a beautiful thing. And I don't know of many other consensus-based models that have existed at that scale for this long with this amount of success. And we're still fairly early. So when, I met a woman in Ethiopia.
So those are the basic views of like Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey. They're both very bullish on crypto. Elon Musk basically says how he believes, not only in Bitcoin, but Ethereum and Dogecoin as well. He owns both of them. Jack Dorsey says that he sees Bitcoin really being the currency of the internet in the future. He explains how Bitcoin really changes everything. And then the last person in this interview is Cathie Woods. And Cathie Woods' initial thoughts had a lot to do with someone she always looked up to named Art Laffer in the economic space. And she goes on to explain exactly why she likes Bitcoin in terms of the total supply, in terms of a couple of use cases, in terms of more of the economic side. Elon and Jack Dorsey talk a lot about the technology, and Cathie Wood is more about the economics of it, the opportunities, and the disruptive portion of crypto. So let's take a look at that real quick.
And he said, as I said, first rules-based monetary system, global, ever. This is a very big idea. Once we had convinced him of the ecosystem itself. Now, this is the role that it's playing, given that the rule is a quantity rule, that 21 million units, is really a store of value role. So there are three roles of money. Store of value, very important. The means of exchange, so for transactions, and the unit of account. Every good priced in terms of whatever the unit is. So store of value is its primary use right now. The others exist. Unit of account, reserve currency of the crypto asset ecosystem. That's being seeded a little bit towards stable coins right now. But the store of value is a very big role. And means of exchange with apps built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, we think is going to become more of a reality. Right now, high value transactions take place over Bitcoin, and that is a very useful role. So we look at those, and I remember saying to Art, "How big could this be?" And he said, "Well, how big is the U.S. monetary base?" Well, today it's $8 trillion. $8 trillion. At the time we were talking, it was $4 trillion. So we've gone through another crisis since then. And so this store of value, this idea that purchasing power will go up over time if demand rises relative to supply ultimately fixed at 21 million units. That's a very good thing. Purchasing power going up globally around the world. And this idea that it's a hedge against confiscation of wealth. And that can take place in a myriad of ways. But inflation, and especially hyperinflation in emerging markets, is the primary way. Talk about destroying purchasing power. So that's a very big idea. And I'll also mention deflation. In some ways, it's a hedge against deflation. I know some people are confused that.
So Cathie Wood, she approached it more from the economics standpoint, where as Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey talk about the technology, talk about that potential, Cathie Woods more so right now, she had said how she has a bit of a learning curve in the technology portion of it, but for the most part, she sees it as being used currently as a store of value, as an investment. And we are starting to see like decentralized finance applications be built on top of it. She explains how we're starting to see a lot of these other use cases develop right now. But the thing that she really likes about Bitcoin is that it's a rules-based currency. There's 21 million Bitcoin that are ever going to be mined. That's never going to change. And with, for example, people trying to hedge against inflation or hedge against currencies around the world, she says that crypto and Bitcoin are definitely good options for that. And that's what ARK Investing herself have been looking at Bitcoin at currently. She compared it to the US monetary base. She compared it to other currencies around the world. For the most part, she approached it from the economic standpoint. One thing that was pretty funny though is what Elon Musk said. Everyone always criticizes him about manipulating the market. We had seen for a couple of months that people followed every single word that Elon Musk said. But he said something positive about the market would skyrocket. When he said something negative, the market would just tank. And people said he was manipulating it for his own gain. So he talked exactly about this during the conference. Obviously, I don't think Elon Musk cares too much about the money he makes from Bitcoin or crypto. I think he does it and he talks about it because that's what he truly believes in. But and that's simply because of the fact that most of his money is in Tesla and he doesn't nearly have as much in Bitcoin or crypto. But let's take a look at what he had to say about that, addressing that sort of market manipulation that people claim he does with crypto. Let's take a look at that. To
something that may seem silly, like Ethereum, like Dogecoin. I think Ethereum also, the three things I own outside of SpaceX and Tesla, and also obviously there's Neuralink and Boring Company, but of any significance are Bitcoin by far, and then some Ethereum and some Doge. So if the price of Bitcoin goes down, I lose money. I'm not sort of, I might pump, but I don't dump. It's not a case of, I definitely do not believe in getting the price high and selling or anything like that. And I would like to see Bitcoin succeed.
So that's interesting. Everyone always, claims how Elon Musk is manipulating the market, and he's like, look, he owns Bitcoin. He's not selling it. Bitcoin makes up his largest portion of his crypto, investments. Bitcoin is the largest by far, followed by Ethereum and Dogecoin. So he's not trying to manipulate the price. He just says really what he thinks about it. So interesting to see him address that a bit as well. Moving on, I want to talk quickly about Elon Musk on Dogecoin, and Jack Dorsey also chiming in about it as well. Does it actually have potential, or is Dogecoin just something that's a little bit of a fad? People like it now, but it's going to disappear over time. So let's see what Elon had to say there.
I mean, I think there's Doge has the Doge community, I think, is somewhat irreverent, obviously, and has great memes and loves dogs, and I love dogs and memes, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, I think there's Occam's razor, which is the simplest answer is the most likely. It's a summary of Occam's razor. The simplest answer is the most likely one. Then there's a friend of mine came up with a variant on that the most ironic outcome is the most likely one. And then I have a variant on that, which is the most entertaining outcome is the most likely one. So if that is true, then the most ironic and entertaining outcome would be that the cryptocurrency that was started as a joke to make fun of cryptocurrencies ends up being the leading cryptocurrency. That would be the most ironic outcome.
Jack, what are your thoughts on that? Is Bitcoin resilient enough to overcome that?
I think it's resilient, but also I think you find, that's what attracts me to Bitcoin in the first place is the irreverence. A lot of that just brings it forward, and At first go, it makes it a little bit inaccessible, but as people get into it, it makes it more accessible and more spreadable. And I absolutely think the resilience is there. I think it's important to have fun as well. And anyway,
he goes on to explain how basically any way that crypto can be made more attractive, more exciting for people to get involved, that's a good thing. Whether that's with Dogecoin, whether that's with another crypto, any way that people can get involved with crypto and encourages people to get involved and gets them excited to get involved is ultimately going to have positive impacts on crypto down the road. Whether they get into Dogecoin first or they get into Bitcoin first, getting people in that ecosystem is very important at the beginning, and I agree with that completely. In addition to this, we see that Elon Musk addresses a little bit about what is going on with Tesla. Recently, he has said how Tesla was going to accept Bitcoin. They started accepting it for a while in 2021, and then they stopped accepting it due to environmental concerns. And ultimately, he goes on to explain, look, Elon Musk says that there are a lot of energy consumption concerns with crypto. He says it's gotten better, and they are using more renewable energy sources. But the problem is that Tesla's whole goal and mission is around being sustainable, being good for the environment. So if there are companies mining Bitcoin, like using very bad energy sources, let's say like coal, he doesn't want to associate Tesla with those. He said ultimately he thinks over time there's going to be more Bitcoin mining from hydroelectric, from nuclear power, from all these different energy sources. But right now he says we're not there yet. It's going to take a little bit of time, and eventually he does see us getting there. It's just right now he doesn't want to accept Bitcoin because of that conflict of interest that Tesla's trying to push towards being sustainable, their mission for, being really green and good for the environment. And then Bitcoin, on the other hand, right now, it's not the best in terms of energy consumption. It's getting better. He says he sees a positive upward trend, but it's still not the best. Other highlights that were talked about is with what is going on with Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey explains how Bitcoin is much more than just an asset. People see it right now as a way to make money. They invest in it. But he said ultimately over time, it has the potential to change everyone's lives in the entire world. And let's see what he has to say there. 46.50. Here we go.
Back to the community is important. Tesla did this with accepting payments for Tesla and finding security holes and improving the stack. And as I said before, we can't just see this as an asset that we own and an investment vehicle. This is something that has the potential to change everything and make the lives of everyone on this planet better in some small, maybe marginal way, but those margins will be meaningful as they compound over time. Unused energy. There's a company called Great American Mining that caps the methane flares on oil fields to power their rigs. And you just imagine, and you mentioned nuclear, Elon, as well, and just imagine all the unused energy that is just being wasted every single day. And being able to get that energy and converting it into a secure, sound money system for the planet feels like a worthy trade-off. And that's the sort of incentive that I think is most powerful, is like, how do we reuse what is being currently just dumped on the ground and wasted and not considered? And how do we do that at scale? And I think that's a bigger conversation that I think is missing.
So they all agree, for the most part, Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey, Cathie Wood, on Bitcoin, crypto in general. Elon Musk is a little more hesitant about the environmental concerns, and I think that has a lot to do with him founding Tesla and Tesla's mission to be, good for the environment, make electric vehicles, and promote sustainable energy. So Elon Musk seems a little more hesitant about Bitcoin in that sense, in that he doesn't necessarily think right now it is the best in terms of energy consumption, while Cathie Wood and Jack Dorsey say, look, we're getting there, and it's actually much better for the environment than we think. We have seen with China banning crypto mining altogether that from that alone, we have seen it become more and more efficient just because companies that mine Bitcoin using coal power, like using coal for energy source, now a lot of this has been shut down. So that seems to be the big difference I found from this entire interview. They're all bullish on crypto. It's pretty obvious. Elon Musk's one thing that he did say that was, like, in my opinion, a call out to Robinhood. He basically called out Robinhood altogether, which we have seen happen multiple times. Elon Musk says that you should not own crypto. Like, he said, you should be very careful about owning crypto on an exchange where you don't have the private key. He says owning the private key is absolutely essential, because if you don't have the private key, then essentially you don't own the crypto. For example, if Robinhood got shut down, then you don't own, let's say, the Dogecoin or the Bitcoin or the Ethereum that you have on the exchange. It really is that you own it, and also Robinhood owns it, because Robinhood has access to the private key. Yes, obviously it's yours, you invested in it, but he says, for example, if like Robinhood was hacked, or if the government seizes money from a company, let's say like Robinhood, well, you don't have that specific private key and you don't actually have access to having the underlying crypto. Robinhood has been working on this for a while, but I saw this as a direct call out to Robinhood, saying that they need to move ahead with that digital wallet that they've been working on, get this rolled out, because otherwise people are going to move elsewhere. So that was one thing that I found, a bit of a call out, that Elon Musk called out Robinhood, not specifically, but it's been an issue that people have seen with Robinhood for a while. So a bit of a different episode. I just wanted to go over a couple of the key highlights, what you guys think of it. I tried to keep it as short as possible. I know it was a bit of a longer episode, but let me know what you guys think if you enjoyed this sort of video. If you did, please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new, and let me know what topics you want to talk about next if you like these sort of crypto videos. But I'll see you guys in the next episode, and I hope you enjoyed.